107.5 FM, Winterville, North Carolina.
Motivations with Glenn.
Good day, everyone. This is Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU. You are tuned into the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cummins Williams. Today is part two of our topic on allergies and different things of that nature. And we're going to discuss allergy types and symptoms where we left off last week, followed by 8 common symptoms of fall allergies. We'll also have allergy versus cold. What's the difference? We're going to talk a little bit about, if we have time, how much salt is too much salt, based upon what my co-host was sharing with us last week. This is not to admonish her or anything, just I thought it would be a good topic or information for our listening audience, not just her, but for everybody. It's a very interesting thing. Also, I have 4 audio clips, and particularly I want to play the one on nickel allergies and how particularly females should be very, very careful. Males too. Everybody should be careful. But I'm saying females because nickel is contained in a lot of things such as sunglasses, jewelry, various types of jewelry. Now even cell phones, any kind of electronic device. It might even be a tablet. You won't believe nickel is found in there also. There might be stainless steel items that may contain nickel also. Would you figure that? Stainless steel but contain nickel.
Wow, that's a lot of information, Dr. Glenn. And I'm glad you started out and kicked us out. You've gotten us going real fast, real early, Dr. Glenn. It's a lot to contain. You've given us a lot already. I just want to say hey to everybody, and this is Jacqueline Cummins Williams, and I am glad to be here on today. Dr. Glenn is really put out a few challenges here, and I know he wants to talk about the salt later, but I think we should start out with the salt because it was a conclusion of last week's show. It's something that I said on the air, and I venture to say that food just does not taste good without salt. I made a few comments that may have, I pray that they didn't seem derogatory towards Dr. Glenn because he doesn't put salt and pepper on his food. I did kind of look at him in a strange way because I feel like food needs to be seasoned, and that salt is one of the things that just makes food taste good. I'm not trying to say that we need to oversalt things, but
That's
I'm just
right.
saying there's nothing wrong with a little salt and a little pepper on your food.
But just like you just said, you don't need to over salt things. And the reason why this is interesting to me, not only the salt, I know people that won't eat anything without bread. You know, starchy bread is a starch. You're eating stuff with starch. Now eating bread on top of it. He will not. There's one particular guy I know. He will not eat a piece of chicken not unless there's a slice of bread involved.
Now, and Dr. Glenn, I'm remembering back years ago, and I used to go to these buffets. And there was one particular buffet that we would call it the old people's buffet, because when you would go there, there was just not any, it tasted like there was just not much salt on the food. They were very light on the salt. And a lot of older people frequented that buffet versus the other all you can eat buffets because they didn't use as much salt. And it just, I'm just sorry, the food just didn't taste as good to me.
Now, people might say, "Oh, that Glenn, he's just so sensitive. He's big and buff, but he's just so sensitive." But what it is, I'm just different. I don't like to eat bread. As far as I can stay away from bread, I'll stay away from it. Not unless it's like a sub or hoagie or something like that, cheeseburger or something. And if I do use bread, it's wheat bread, 100% wheat, no enriched bread. Enriched bread is the white bread. But let's get back to that salt issue.
Let's get back and let's look at it too. There was a comparison that I saw online because I remember mentioning to you last week that I use sea salt versus the regular salt. And we have been told a lot that sea salt is healthier than the regular salt, but not necessarily. Sea salt is natural versus the iodized salt it's been processed differently. But online and some of the things that I read about the differences in the salt, it labels the iodized salt as being more healthy because it's one of the places, the highest source, one of the highest sources where we get the iodine, and they add it into the salt, and it helps the thyroid to be healthy. If you don't have that iodine in your system, you could end up with a big goiter on your neck. I've seen women with those big goiters on their necks or growing up. Remember seeing some church mothers, they couldn't eat the salt and things, and they had a big goiter on their neck. So they categorize the iodized salt as being healthy because it adds that iodine to your diet.
And I'm glad you said that because according to the document that we have on the first page, what are the benefits of salt in the body? So apparently there are some benefits. And I just want to clarify one thing. It's not that I don't like salt. I might put salt on some things sometimes, very rarely though. Like if I order some chicken wings, I might put salt on the chicken wings because it does enhance the flavor, like you said.
Yes.
But that's probably the only time I would do it.
Well,
And
any chicken, you got to have salt on all chicken, not just chicken wings. You need it on the breast, you need it on the thigh, you need it on the legs.
Yeah, but
Chicken is not good without salt.
but I don't know why I just don't put it on there.
Has a
And,
very fresh taste.
ladies and gentlemen, we have a caller calling in, and let me see if I can get to the right one. Caller, you are live on the air on the Glenn Johnson Show. Thank you for calling. You have a comment or question?
Good afternoon, Dr. Johnson.
How are you, Ms. Langley?
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Johnson and Apostle Williams.
Good afternoon to you.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Johnson. Okay, I got some feedback here, so let me just cut that down and just talk with you guys. So I've been listening to your conversation here. I had a light conversation with Dr. Johnson, and I'm just going to put some dirty information out there about myself. So the one thing I like to say is I don't do a lot of salt, but I do love condiments and sauces and dips, and I've been advised that some of those may carry some of those sodium and things that you guys are talking about, on top of the fact that I already take some medication to help with those things. So, Dr. Johnson, don't be laughing at me. I was like, oh, I'm doing so good. I don't eat salt, but I load my food up and dip my food in sauces and condiments. So I'm going to talk to you guys, to Dr. Johnson, Apostle Williams, for people that think they're doing good with not sprinkling salt per se, but using condiments and sauces and things to enhance their food. So I want to know if you can talk and address those things as well. And I'm an African-American female, so give me some information so I can do better.
And I'm going to take away on you hanging there because about 1.5 minutes we'll go out to our first break. But if you can hang in there, or continue to listen and call back. But Jackie.
Yeah, and I want to say to you that I just addressed someone about this very thing last week. And those particular sauces, if you look at those dipping sauces, most of them have, as you said, a lot of salt or sodium, and they also contain a lot of sugar. I haven't
Yeah.
seen one yet that hardly doesn't contain a lot of sugar. And so a lot of times when we say, well, I'm cutting down my sugar, my salt, but then now on this other side, you have all this sugar that you're dipping it into.
And our caller mentioned the things about the condiments and all that. When I go to any restaurant, whether it's fast food restaurant or, a well-known restaurant, I don't ask for no condiments, no none of that stuff. And as a matter of fact, one particular restaurant I go to, I always get the Hershey pies. So if I get two of them, they give me 2 spoons. I said, why you give me 2 spoons? Ain't nobody getting none of these. Both of these for me. I only need 1 spoon.
Wow. Well, and I want to say to our caller, our taste buds are not crazy. Our taste buds know that you didn't put the salt on the food and it can taste it in those dipping sauces.
No, y'all's taste buds is different. Y'all have a different palate. You and the caller have a different palate because y'all like them condiments and the salt, and I particularly just don't like it. I just want to say that. You want to take us out to the break?
Yes, we're going to advise you to come on back with us, and we'll be right back after this break. This is Awesome Radio, and you can call in and be on the show today. Right back in a moment. See ya.
I'm going to keep the caller on the line while we go to the break.
My name is Jayla, and you're to see to my papa, Glenn Johnson, on the radio.
From the Pacific Justice Institute, this is The Legal Edge, defending your rights as a Christian, a parent, and a citizen. Here's Brad Dacus.
After a 3-week federal trial, 7 pro-life activists in Michigan now face up to 11 years for peacefully protesting outside an abortion clinic. It's clear the judge holds a prejudice toward people of faith. Well, Pacific Justice Institute attorney David Peters was repeatedly interrupted and even threatened with contempt charges for merely presenting his client's religious convictions. Well, PJI is not backing down and will see to it that religious freedom prevails. To become a prayer warrior, visit pji.org.
Learn more about our ministry and get exclusive email updates by registering for the Legal Insider at pji.org. Remember the website, pji.org.
You're listening to Awesome Radio, WECU, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM. Christian media with the spirit of excellence.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Collins-Williams. This is Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU. Do we still have our caller on the line?
Yes, we do. Feeling mighty guilty about loving my condiments and sauces.
Well, we didn't want to make you feel guilty, but we do want to tell the truth. And there's a particular article online that says 21 of the unhealthiest dipping sauces. And one of the things that it talks about in that particular article is the sodium content. So, as you said, you don't put the salt on your food, but you're dipping it in everything. And usually things that are dippable are usually things that are mostly fried, not exclusively, but mostly on a fried type level. And then you're dipping it in this high sodium content. You're still getting it, you're just getting it in a different way.
All right, can I ask both of you a question? Apostle
Yes.
Jackie and to the caller. Do you think what you might be suffering from is what they call conditioned reaction? A conditioned reaction is like, if a cat hears an electric can opener, he comes running to the kitchen because he thinks it's time to get some food. That is known as a conditioned response. His response is conditioned to hearing that can opener. So you think that you might have a conditioned response from using the condiments and having salt, Jackie?
I would say yes. I just said that at first. It's because our body and taste buds is not crazy. They know that salt tastes good to us. And so you're getting it in another way. And now you have to have those sauces. And a lot of times it just don't taste good without it.
I know I'm listening to the call. I'm laughing. I started laughing when she said, mm-hmm.
Yes.
So we'll let her answer, Dr. Glenn.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm going to answer, and then I'm going to be going to leave, but I will still be listening in because I want to be taking some notes as to what you guys are saying. So, yes, Dr. Johnson, to answer your question, and thank you, Apostle, for providing that information and those stats. But I think so because I'm conditioned because I'm not a salt sprinkler per se. So I trick myself and say, oh, sis, you're not sprinkling salt, so just tear open that sauce and dip away. So, so that's just kind of what I've gotten used to anytime I go out to eat. And I'll tell you my other thing, and I'm just telling all kind of my little dirty secrets. I love hot sauce, too.
Ooh.
I will put hot sauce on eggs. I'll put it on boiled eggs. So yeah, I'm guilty. This is Tanisha Lane. I'm telling the truth. So if you see me out and about, you confront me and tell me to do better. So yes, those are my guilty pleasures. And I'm glad that you all are doing this type of show because sometimes people will say, well, I'm not doing that. I'm only doing this, and not be informed to know that you might be doing worse than the person that's a sprinkler. So
Yeah.
I think that I am conditioned, Dr. Johnson and Apostle, because I tell myself I'm not a sprinkler, so what I'm doing isn't bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know you have to run, but there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have two people who have verified they are conditioned response to you using salt. The other thing is, I think a lot of people have a tendency to use salt based upon their growing up experience from seeing other people use salt, putting salt and pepper and stuff on their food. They're just more acclimated to put on it because they have seen other people do it.
Well, and we were raised on salt and pepper. Salt and pepper was
Yeah.
always in the kitchen. We never had a house that didn't. I don't know any of my relatives that didn't use salt and pepper. They use seasoning salt, salt and garlic, seasonings and things to make the food taste good.
Well, let me ask you a question since you said that. There are a lot of other things in your kitchen that's normally in there that you normally see, but you don't use. So how's that any kind of response? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things you don't use. You see it all the time, but you don't use it.
But you got to look at that, Dr. Glenn. We've been conditioned to those tastes from a child,
I
from
haven't.
childhood.
True.
You've been conditioned to know that it tasted good. Oh, this is so good. They
You
had
see-
that salt and pepper on it.
You see, let me explain something to the caller before we go out, because we got 5 minutes before we go to the next break. Listener, a caller, the reason why I said that is because Apostle Jacqueline and the engineer last week, when I said I don't use no seasoning, I don't like salt, pepper, ketchup, hot sauce, all that stuff, they looked at me like they had just bugged out.
Yeah, it was really a shock, and especially when he tells me that his turkey is good and he doesn't put any salt on it. I'm like, I can't believe it. I just can't receive it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what it was. When I told them I like to have my food, I prefer and like to have my food all bland.
Oh, yes.
Oh gosh, that's a hard one to listen to, Dr. Glenn. So I can tell you, if I come to your house, I won't say I'll let you see me do it. But me and Apostle are going to go to the next room, and we're going to have just a little bit of our things that we grew up with.
Hey, you know what?
We're going to bring it in our purse, the salt and pepper, okay?
Yeah, we're going to bring it in our purse. We're not going to show it to you because I want to say we're doing healthy, So
And you know what? She just said the same exact thing you just said last week.
Yeah, and let me tell you this, Dr. Glenn, I'm not going to promise that. Because I go somewhere and the food is not good, I'm too old to be pretending with people. I'm too old to try to make it look good. I would try to be gracious as much as I can, but I just won't eat it if it's not good.
That's why. Well, wait a minute. That's why when somebody stopped by my house unannounced, and then when they open the door, and I say, "Hey, what's going on? Why didn't you call me?" They were like, "I was just driving through." But why didn't you keep on going? You should have kept going.
Well, Dr. Glenn and Apostle Williams, thank you so very much. I'll be listening in to you guys and taking notes and paying attention and trying to make some better habits because the holidays are coming up.
That's right. That's why we have these shows to enlighten the listening audience. Sometimes people are unaware. It's not they don't have intelligence; they just have a lack of knowledge. And that's why we like to share information and bring knowledge forth to our listening audience. So I'll thank you for calling.
All right, thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your show. I'll be listening in.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, Jackie,
Okay, bye-bye.
we have 2.5 minutes, Jackie.
Yes, and Dr. Glenn, when I was looking that up about the sauces, one of my favorite things from one of our local fast food places is they've got these nacho fries. I'm not going to say their name, but they have these nice nacho fries that you dip in the nacho cheese sauce. That nacho cheese sauce has so much sodium in it. Do you know how bad that stuff is for you?
Yeah.
And it tastes so good. I love those fries.
And the sauce itself is processed, so can you just imagine the amount of chemicals besides the salt?
I'm just going to say to everybody, look up online the sodium intake in that nacho cheese sauce. And you're going to be saying like, wow, I don't need to be eating this. But it tastes so good. They do taste good.
That's why the Food and Drug Administration and the FDA have developed new labels for certain things. They have to list certain things that are highlighted, whether it contains added sugar, added salt, what have you. So this is one of the reasons why they have changed the labeling system to include those labels that highlight certain things.
Definitely, Dr. Glenn. When we come back, we are going to do just a little bit more on this sodium intake, just some highlights here of what it is to avoid or having too much sodium in your body and what that could do to your body. And then we're going to switch this over and finish our allergy and cold show that we started on last week. We need to cap that off, and we have some good information still that we need to give to you out there.
Yeah, because like I said, one of the things about the allergies I want to mention, and I have 2 audio clips on this, is nickel allergy. You will be shocked to find out and hear what contains nickel that you might be allergic to and don't even know it. Like electronic devices. I bet your cell phone, tablets, even ordinary things you might be using. You might have a nickel allergy and don't know it. But nickel is even contained in certain foods. They're going to be mentioning what foods to stay away from if you find out you have a nickel allergy. Jackie is going to take us out to the break.
Yes, we want you to come on back here. We have some interesting things that we're going to pull right up to the top and give you some more information on today. This is Awesome Radio. We want you to hear these great things that we have coming up, and we want you to call in. You can be free to call in. The number is 252-756-2008. Again, the studio line is 252-756-2008. You call in and we'll put you right on the air and you'll be able to give your comments. Dr. Glenn?
That's right, 107.5 FM WECU.
You're listening to the Anchorberg Minute.
The message in 1 Corinthians 13 is timeless, and it speaks to us today as much as it did to the disheveled church in Corinth centuries ago. The truth is, we all face disunity, conflict, and immaturity in our faith at times. However, the solution is simple yet profound: love. Love found only in Christ is the key to restoration with God and with each other. Let us not make the mistake of the Corinthians and remain in our selfish, immature affections. Instead, let us grow in Christ's love and bear forth the authentic fruit of love. Let us embrace Christ's unshakable love and live it out in our daily lives, knowing that love never fails.
For additional resources or to view our TV program, log on to jashow.org. That's jashow.org.
Hello, my name is Daniel from Greenville. We appreciate you for listening to Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU Radio in Greenville.
Hi, hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Apostle Dana Lynn Edwards. I am here to invite you to a new show that will be premiering October 5th, 2 p.m. Saturday. It is Ask the Pastor. You can ask questions that have always been on your mind about your Bible and your walk with Jesus. Looking forward to you joining us. Again, that is Saturday, October 5th, 2 p.m.
We're back. You're listening to The Glenn Johnson Show. You can reach Glenn at glennjohnsonshow@gmail.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to The Glenn Johnson Show. Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Collins-Williams. As the drop just said, you can reach me by emailing me at glennjohnsonshow@gmail.com. That's Glenn with 2 N's, GLENN Johnson Show at gmail.com. And I wish our listening audience would email me on some of these documents we have today because it contains a lot of serious information that you should know about allergies, and particularly when we get to the nickel allergies. I particularly want the females to listen to this audio about that. But we're going to finish up on what we were talking about before the break. Here's Apostle Jacqueline Williams.
Yes, and so I wanted to just give you a few warning signs that your body may be telling you that you are taking in too much salt. And it said that consuming too much salt can raise your blood pressure, make the heart work harder, and increase the risk of heart disease and stroke. What are the side effects of eating too much salt? And one of them, it says here, is that bloating. Your body can be bloated when you're eating too much salt. Thirst, you can be extremely thirsty, and sometimes you could think that it's something else.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that you're getting too much salt.
Right.
Frequent urination. So you could be going to the bathroom a lot, and that could be a side effect of eating too much salt. And of course, high blood pressure, fatigue. You know, eating too much salt can make you very tired. Palpitations, which means that it could affect your heart. You could be having palpitations, and there's nothing more than you're eating too much salt. Hypertension, that's high blood pressure. So we've seen all of those things that can, and those are warning signs. If you're having some of those symptoms, you know, you need to be checked out and also look and see if it's because of your salt intake.
Now, Jackie, I want to thank you for that. That was very good information. We're going to now go back to our first audio clip. What allergy? What are the symptoms?
Things like itchy,
All right, sorry about that.
sneezing, itchy eyes,
just start that
pollens.
again.
They can range from respiratory symptoms, typically with dusts and with molds and with pollens, things like itchy nose, sneezing, itchy eyes, triggering off asthma attacks. And then with food, typically they're tingling in the mouth, swelling of the mouth, rashes around the mouth, vomiting, sometimes diarrhea. The other type of allergy is skin allergy. You know, some people are allergic to things like nickel and other chemicals, and they'll develop rashes on the skin.
Okay, I'll pause that to go to the next audio clip because I actually thought I raised the audio on that one, or the volume on that one, but to me it sounded kind of low, so I just paused that, and I hope this one is right. This is fighting fall hay fever.
So what are fall allergies? When are they? Well, actually, for most people, they begin around the middle of August and will go until it gets cold after you've had a couple of frosts. And for a good part of the country, that's due to something like ragweed, so late summer weeds. Certainly, there are other things such as mold spores, which also tend to peak out in the late summer and fall. And sometimes it can be confusing as to who has what. If you're really sensitive to a weed like ragweed or another late summer pollen such as the tumbleweeds, or if you're sensitive to mold spores. So any of those could be a problem around that time of year. So the symptoms of hay fever are usually primarily nose. So the nose runs profusely sometimes. You're sneezing your head off. You're having to blow your nose constantly. Your nose is...
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I paused that one also because we have to make commentary on that as well. So I'm going to wait for Apostle Jacqueline Williams to get our document together, and she's going to give us some comments on what we just heard on the fall allergies. Apostle?
Yes, Dr. Glenn. I just want to read off some allergy types here, not just exclusively the fall allergies, and then I'll go to the fall allergies. You know, there are different types of allergies, and this show is a broad show. I think we were more talking about like seasonal type allergies and those things, but there are food allergies, there's indoor allergies. Those type of allergies are allergies that you will have year round, regardless to whether it's being fall or not. Indoor allergies, seasonal allergies. There are people that just get it in the wintertime. They just get it in the season, or they just get it in the summertime, and they don't have it any other time of year. There's also allergic asthma. People that their asthma is triggered by a particular allergy. And so there is a lot of different areas. There's a few more I could give, but we're going to kind of cut that short because Dr. Glenn has said we will do something on the fall allergies.
Yeah, but as you proceed, let me just tell you this: when you mentioned about the seasons, I have year-round allergies myself, and a lot of people aren't aware that they have an allergy at all. Sometimes they might think it's just a cold, but an allergy symptom and a cold symptom could be similar. Like a couple weeks ago, remember, Jackie? I thought I had a cold. When I thought I had an allergy, actually, I was tested positive for the flu. Now, as far as climate changes and seasonal changes, like we have our 4 seasons: fall, winter, spring, and summer. But you might hear somebody in California say we just have 2 seasons or 2 climates. That's summer and fire, because there's always a lot of fires in California. So they'll say there are 2 seasons or climate changes is summer and fire.
Oh my goodness. Dr. Glenn, there is, and we will go over and we'll talk about the difference between allergies and a cold and some of the other symptoms because, as you said, you thought you had allergies and you actually had the flu. But there are some distinct differences. But I wanted to go and hit here in what you mentioned, the fall allergies. In the fall allergies, it could be severe cases of trouble breathing and itchy, watery eyes, irritated eyes, runny nose or nasal congestion, sneezing, headache, rashes or hives on the skin, itchy throat, aggravated asthma symptoms, including coughing and wheezing, and in severe case, anaphylaxis.
Yeah, and Jackie just mentioned anaphylaxis. Anaphylaxis or anaphylactic allergy is life-threatening, and I have anaphylactic allergies, especially nuts. I can only eat peanuts. I can't eat any other kind of nuts because those nuts grow in the tree, where peanuts grow in the ground. So that's why I can eat peanuts, but I can't eat no tree nuts, and other things like latex and iodine. I was mentioning that I have an EpiPen. I'll have to inject myself if the conditions are extreme enough where I have to inject myself. But if you have anaphylactic allergies, if you have an EpiPen, and you should use it to inject yourself, you have to go to the emergency room immediately following injecting yourself. That is a must. That is a requirement. It says on the box. Your doctor will tell you that. And it's just a medical recommendation. You have to go to the emergency room as soon as you inject yourself with the EpiPen.
Yes. So, Dr. Glenn, let's look at some, and that is absolutely the truth. You're supposed to call or seek medical attention if you had to deploy the EpiPen. I know working in certain environments, that is the criteria that you have to go, or you still have to call, like 911 to get someone over.
Get somebody,
if you've used it in a certain place.
Yeah, to get some type of assistance. But remember last week I said my brother's friend witnessed a relative of hers to use her EpiPen. She said she could see her heart beating through her chest, through her shirt, because the EpiPen is more or less adrenaline. And what is that adrenaline? High amount of sugar or glucose. So your heart is beating very rapidly. She said she could see it coming through her shirt. So now I have doubts about using the EpiPen. Jackie?
Well, it's epinephrine, and it's going to speed everything up because it's raising up your blood pressure,
Right,
as well as other things there. Your breathing.
I'm thinking for me that's the word I was looking for, epinephrine.
Yes, Dr. Glenn, we're getting ready to go out on another break, and when we come back, we're going to definitely compare the difference between having a cold and having allergies, and even having the flu. I think these things are very interesting, and I think sometimes people get confused about what their symptoms are showing. Dr. Glenn?
That's right. We'll get to cold versus flu or whatever. But ladies and gentlemen, keep it locked right here. Awesome Radio.
Keep it locked right here to the Glenn Johnson Show.
Is your heart heavy? Shame shrouded your whole outlook in darkness? broken in pieces and lying shattered on the floor? Cry out to God, if only a whisper. He is right there waiting to hold you. The Lord hears his people when they call to him for help. He rescues them from all their troubles. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. Growing your faith with Psalm 34, 17, and 18.
Hi, my name is Tracy. Thank you for listening to Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. Welcome back to Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU. Apostle Jacqueline Williams is going to go over cold versus allergies. And we have reached our final 20 minutes of the broadcast, but when she gets done, we're going to start on the nickel allergy. I have two very important audio clips of that. And I want everybody to take what they can out of the nickel allergy because it's so important. Like I said, nickel is containing a lot of things you would not think that had nickel in it. And if you have a nickel allergy, you are to stay away from those things. So here's Apostle Jacqueline Williams.
Yes, so I just wanted to give you some symptoms of a cold. It says that cold develops slowly and are milder at the beginning. Runny nose that starts clear and becomes thick and colored. It can last 7 to 10 days, and you could have a mild fever or sore throat or mild discomfort. When it says allergy symptoms, it says allergies can develop immediately after exposure. And that's a lot of times where you'll see that you come into a place or something that you're allergic to, or like, after being outside or changing one room to another, you'll see that you'll start sneezing. And it says that these develop immediately after exposure to your allergen trigger, to your allergy trigger. It can have clear, watery, runny nose, symptoms that can last more than 2 weeks or be recurrent, itchy nose, itchy eyes, and symptoms can appear at the start of the season. So when the change of weather happens, that's when you can start seeing your symptoms occur. And a lot of us, that's where we're seeing it. I mean, we're getting a little cooler weather, a little coolness coming in. We're getting a lot more rain and things, and we're starting to see that allergy symptoms are kicking up a little bit more.
Right.
What is a cold? So a cold is an infection that can be caused by more than 200 different types of viruses.
And I'll point out one other thing you just mentioned that brought something to my attention. People, I like to see with their windows open during the springtime. But if you go outside and look at your car, you had a white car, black car, you have this green stuff all over it. That's pollen. And pollen is just something bad for some people. So you sleep with your windows open, imagine how much pollen you might be inhaling. And
Yes.
don't know it.
And also wanted to say that the cold has a 2-week, it has like a 2-week period. If you're going after that and you're seeing that your symptoms will not clear up, it is probably allergies. And because as long as the allergen is present, that's as long as you're going to continue to have the symptoms. So as soon as the allergen is removed, then your symptoms will stop.
Yeah, and I meant to ask my allergist about this, and I meant to do some research on it because I wanted to dispel a myth. A lot of people seem to think when you tell them you have an allergy, oh boy, you just need to eat or use more of what you're allergic to get what's the word to build up an antibiotic that will fight it. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. Why would you consume or eat something or use something that you're allergic to more? Why would you do that? That's why I never looked it up, because to me, it's just common sense. You can't do it. You're allergic to it.
Wow. It says the digestive system with allergies. It says some allergies occur at a particular time of year when the allergen is in the air. Symptoms can vary in terms in how long they last in their severity depending on the allergen in your body. It talked about your digestive system.
Let's since we have 5.5 minutes on this particular segment, then we'll have our final 10 minutes. So let's go to the first audio clip for the nickel we can follow with some commentary. When we go to the break, we'll come back. We'll do the final 10 minutes on nickel allergy.
News now, if you've ever had a rash from earrings or bracelets, you've probably suffered a nickel allergy.
But it's not just costume jewelry that has nickel in it. CBS 2's Dr. Max Gomez says it's a lot of other items, even new high-tech devices. Dr. Max?
Yeah, that's right, Christine. Almost 1 in 5 people in North America are allergic to nickel, including 11 million children in the United States. So it's not a small problem. And these days, nickel is found in everything from hip and knee replacements to health food. Itchy, red, and irritated. This is what Sue McCann's arm looks like when she wears her electronic fitness tracker.
I was very surprised that I developed a rash.
Surprised because Sue never suspected her tracker could trigger what appears to be a nickel allergy, something dermatologists are seeing more often.
Traditionally, we've seen nickel allergies in places like earrings or from belt buckles, but now we're tending to see it a lot on the wrist from electronic fitness trackers.
One popular model was even recalled after thousands complained of skin irritation, later linked in part to nickel in the casing. Now some wearable companies are giving users a heads up that some contain traces of nickel, and some people may experience allergies.
Nickel reactions can range from a little local rash, infections of the skin. It can impact on sleep. It can certainly impact someone's occupation.
But it's not just the fitness devices. A new bulletin from the American Academy of Dermatology says some electronic devices, including cell phones, laptops, and tablets, may contain nickel.
People who are real sensitive will break out from exposure to even stainless steel because the amount of nickel that gets released is enough to make them sensitive and show a reaction or rash.
And what you eat could also cause a problem. If you're extremely sensitive to nickel, you may want to avoid soy products such as soybeans, soy sauce, and tofu, as well as licorice, buckwheat, cocoa powder, clams, cashews, and figs.
Can you imagine that? Here, when you say if you're allergic to nickel, certain food items may contain nickel. I eat a lot of foods, so thank God I don't have a nickel allergy because I eat a lot of figs. Jackie?
Yes, it said also certain food items that contain nickel is soybeans, soy sauce, tofu, licorice. A lot of people eat licorice.
I eat licorice too.
Buckwheat, cocoa powder, clams, and look, cashews and figs. I love cashews. And I do like figs, but I haven't had them in a long time.
Yeah, but I do eat a lot of things that contain licorice, and I like other figs, like I said, but thank God I don't have a nickel allergy. I have every other allergy, I think, except for a nickel allergy.
And I think, Dr. Glenn, a lot of people may not recognize it as a nickel allergy. They just know that they're allergic to wearing certain types of fake jewelry, certain things you could put up against your body, and the next thing you know, it's broken out. You know, certain jewelry that they wear, and they say, and we'll just say, you know, in our culture, we can't wear fake jewelry. I can't wear fake jewelry because it'll break you out around the neck, or your ears will end up getting that lesion like on your ears. And that it very well could be a nickel allergy.
That's right.
Versus just cheap jewelry.
Just cheap jewelry, that's right. That's why I want to dispel some of these myths, because like you just said, it might be beyond just something you think you just can't wear or use. It might be an allergy.
Yeah, so, and I think people, they don't label it as that, as a nickel allergy.
Because a lot of people are afraid. They don't want to just say, it's like somebody saying, well, yeah, I'm sick. You know what I mean? Yeah, I have this or I have that. They just don't want to, they're in denial. They don't want to admit to the fact that they have an allergy. They think it does, I don't know what their mindset is, but it's all right to say that you have an allergy.
But I think a lot of times people, they don't seek it out to find that it's an allergy. They just say, well, you know, I can't wear that jewelry, that cheap jewelry anymore. And they, you know, I'm just saying culture-wise, that's a lot of times how we handle it. You put some earrings on the baby and it breaks out their little earlobe or whatever, their skin start breaking out. You just say, they can't wear that cheap jewelry. You don't say or go and find out that it's a nickel allergy.
Before we end today's broadcast, I'm glad you mentioned that about the child, because I want to explain to everybody how a friend of mine in Philadelphia, son kept getting sick because the father used to like to wear all these high intensified oils and stuff. he didn't realize it was causing his son to allergies to trigger. And his son got real sick one time. So I had to lay it down to him. I said, Kev, just because it doesn't bother you doesn't mean that it's not bothering them. He might be too young to know what it is that's bothering him. So, ladies and gentlemen, keep it locked right here to Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU. Back in a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Break off the knob right here to Awesome Radio.
One evolutionary claim is that stars are born into existence as nebulous areas of space contract, forming a dense ball of gas. While it might sound like a plausible explanation for the origin of stars, there is a big problem. We've never observed a star form. Every example of supposed star formation is a case where a cloudy or nebulous area of space starts to clear and we spot a star for the first time. No star was formed, it simply became visible. It's like driving down the road in a dense fog. Suddenly the fog lifts and you see a massive mountain ahead. The mountain didn't magically form in the last few minutes, it was just revealed when the fog dissipated. The God of the Bible created the stars of heaven on the fourth day, and we read in Psalms that he knows each one of them by name. I'm David Reeves. Truly, the heavens declare the glory of God.
For more information, visit David Reeves Ministries at davidreeves.com. DavidRives.com.
My name is Jayla, and you're to see to my papa, Glenn Johnson, on the radio.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU. I'm not going to take long because this is our final 10 minutes, but I just want to finish up on what I was saying. The reason why I was telling my friend Kevin that his son might be allergic to the oils, he's having these asthma attacks because he's probably allergic to it, but he doesn't know it because he's too young to realize that he is in fact allergic to it. So you need to get him checked. So he took my advice, got him checked, and now Kevin don't wear any oil in the house or anywhere near his son. And I said, Kevin, you should know better all the time. You are a nurse at a hospital, so why wouldn't you know that? But anyway, let me play our final audio clip on determining if you have a nickel allergy. And then Apostle Jacqueline Collins-Williams finish up the commentary with the documents that she has.
Helping make your life easier. Moms every day.
Nickel allergy is a common cause of skin rash. Usually nickel contact comes from jewelry, but surprisingly nickel can be found in many everyday items such as zippers, clothing fasteners, and eyeglass frames. Dr. Margaret Contra-Sutton is here to talk about this itchy rash. Nice to see you today, Doctor.
Thank you. Great to be here, Taryn.
So how would you know if you are allergic to nickel? Would it just be from something you've worn like that?
It's sometimes a little bit being like Sherlock Holmes to figure this out. You really have to take note of where it's occurring, and that will be your biggest clue because the allergy will occur right where that object was touching you. For example, if it's jewelry, it'll occur right where that jewelry sits on your skin. If it's an earring, it'll occur on the earlobe. If it's a necklace, it'll occur on the neck. If it's the fastener of your jeans, it'll occur right where that fastener touches your abdominal skin.
Okay, so what can be done for it?
Well, first of all, you have to figure out what it is, that it is an allergy, and then avoid that metal. And you can coat the metal, for example, with clear fingernail polish so that the metal doesn't actually touch your skin, or you can find clothing that doesn't have metal fasteners. But there's really no way to avoid it if you are, in fact, allergic.
To it. Okay, well, I know we have some pictures here to show folks what will happen if you are allergic. Now, this is from a necklace.
Absolutely. It causes redness, itching, unpleasant rash, and when you stop the contact, that rash will eventually improve on its own, and you can help it along with some topical steroid creams such as hydrocortisone cream.
It might take a few days though, huh?
Exactly. And the clue here is that it's right on the arm where the wristband of a watch would set, and the classic appearance is that the pattern of the rash follows the same shape as whatever that piece of jewelry was.
Okay, that was that audio clip on to determine if you have a nickel allergy. But like I said before, Should you desire any of the documents or audio clips that we have, please email me at glennjohnsonshow@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to forward it to you. So we have 6 minutes remaining for today's broadcast. I'm going to let Apostle Jacqueline Williams finish off the topic for today's broadcast. Jackie.
Yes, when they were talking about how the rash looks and how to treat it, one of the things we want to say about the nickel allergy is that it has to have direct contact with your skin. And from that direct contact, that's how you're going to tell that you're allergic to it. And they talked about, like having a watch or a bracelet or something. You'll end up, when you take that off, the same shape of the watch will be impressed on your skin.
Yeah, that's right.
And the rash will be coming from around it.
One other thing I noticed that she said, and I'm going to ask you about it. Remember, she said if you do wear like a bracelet and it contains nickel, you can just cover it up with some clear nail polish. How about if you just don't wear it?
Yeah, well, and that's taking a chance to cover up with, and then you got to make sure it's covered and dried.
Yeah.
Or why not just put plastic under there? But if you're allergic to it, don't wear it.
Right, that's why I said just don't wear it.
Yeah, just taking a chance that, and then, sometimes things could be mild, Dr. Glenn, but then the next time you keep exposing yourself to it, it could get worse. It talked about that particular nickel allergy can have oozing blisters. And so you don't want your skin to get that bad because you keep exposing it to that particular thing. If you bought that watch, go take it back, get the receipt and go take it back and get something else.
Yeah, that's why I said, I want to dispel the myth that people that says, well, you find out you have allergy, or you just need to use more to get used to it. That is such a myth. It's like you just said, why would you continue to use it if it's harming you? That doesn't make any sense at all. That's just common sense. Stop using it.
Yes, and it said here to check your clothing that nickel could be also found in your belt buckles, in your bra hooks, in metal buttons, in zippers and snaps, that most of them can contain nickel. So you could think you're getting away with it, but away from it, being like a jewelry allergy when it could be in a belt buckle. And I've seen it too, where I've gotten irritated from a belt buckle or from the snap up against your skin, and it was a metal snap. And, irritated from that. That could have definitely have been a nickel allergy.
And that's one of the reasons why I said I want women or females to pay close attention, because like you said, it could be containing earrings, eyeglasses, and your bra strap or something like that, right?
Yes, it also says cell phones, laptops, and tablets may contain nickel. So nickel is everywhere, it looks like, Dr. Glenn, and a lot of the things that people may use every day. And can you imagine that you're using that every day and you are allergic to it? That's something to find out.
So the whole premise of this broadcast today is, if you find yourself sick and you just think it's a common cold or some kind of other illness, don't hesitate to stop and think that it could be an allergy, opposed to just being sick from any kind of natural source.
And especially those, that caution about eyeglasses, that you would get some glasses and your face would break out because of the fact, and you don't realize that it's the glasses, because who would think that your glasses would cause an allergy on your face? You would think that all those things would be tested and they wouldn't have anything in them that would cause you to be allergic to it, Dr. Glenn.
Yes, sometimes you don't test things the way they're supposed to. Like, for instance, the glasses, they might just test the UV sensitivity because they want to test, particularly if it's the sunglasses, they want to test this, make sure that it's proper for your eyes to block out the sunlight or the UV rays. So they test. But do they mostly test for nickel? Probably not.
Well, and it also said keys and razors. And you think that a lot of people use, or men especially, use razors, and they think they're getting razor bumps, and it could be the fact that they're allergic to what's in the razor.
And I was just going to say that a lot of men, this is why I don't shave, because I don't want them bumps all over my face. Plus, I have sensitive skin and eczema. My face would just be swollen beyond belief. So, like you said, the men that think, or it says razor burn or razor bumps, it's probably a nickel allergy.
It said pots and pans with silicone handles, titanium, um, titanium coated, or stainless steel razors. So imagine even your pots and pans that you could be allergic. You're gonna cook in those pots and pans. You never think that you could be allergic to it.
Right, because some people say, oh man, you just picked up them pots and pans $40 cheap. That's why you break it out.
Well, it said also the culprit is necklaces, rings, and bracelets that could trigger the nickel allergy. And that you need to find things that have 18, 24, and 24 karat gold, pure sterling silver, or platinum. And those are the things that, they could still contain nickel in them.
And we have 40 seconds to go before we end today's broadcast. I hope everybody was enlightened by this topic that we did for the past 2 weeks. There's so much information on allergies. We can go on and on and on and on. I don't think we're going to do a part 3. But if you would like some of the documents that we have, please don't hesitate to email me, GlennJohnsonShow@gmail.com. I want to thank our caller for calling in today. She is also a host here on Awesome Radio, Education Topics, Miss Tonita Langley. So I hope our listening audience had a great time. So long. God bless everybody. 107.5 FM.
This is another 7 were decided by one vote. According to the Public Interest Legal Foundation, there have been 625 elections that ended in tie votes and 162 elections that were decided by one vote in just the last 22 years. In the past, I've told the